Good day, friends, and welcome to another Nations Cup race today in Gran Turismo 7. This weekend's race actually follows the F1 race in Spa, and we're in the amazing Super Formula cars, which is a spec Formula series mainly run out of Japan. I've been really enjoying the Nations Cup races in Gran Turismo because they have such a great matchmaking algorithm. Every driver is rated on both a driver rating and a sport rating, where sport rating is how clean of a driver you are. And I personally want to race like real life, so having a sport rating of S, as you can see everyone in this lobby has, is important. You'll see very clean racing. And we're about ranked C, which is right in the middle. Now this race has required tires of medium and soft. We qualified 10th, so right kind of near the back of the pack. So we're going to start on the mediums, which will allow us to hopefully overcut the folks in the front of the grid who are going to start on the soft tires. The soft tires are faster, but the level of grip and wear will fade a lot quicker than the medium tires. So the idea is that we'll be able to run slower laps up front than the folks on softs, but through the race be able to hold out a bit longer and have those fast laps at the end. Now in the Nations Cup races, we get this really cool intro where we go down the grid and you can kind of see everyone's custom liveries, their qualifying time and intervals. So there's a great BWT, awesome old traditional liveries, some custom ones. This one's very close to the standard livery. I love this Williams tribute. But that's one thing that really adds something to this. You can really make the cars your own. So I actually chose to have a Renault livery as kind of a tribute to Dan Ricciardo, as this is possibly his last season. I really hope another team does pick him up. You can see a few folks who have that black livery, like this one here, which is just, you can actually rent a car for these races rather than having to own the car yourself, which is actually a really nice feature they didn't have in sport. Now, to start here, we have to hold our brake down, keep the revs up, and release the brake, or else we'll get a false start. So we get a good start, but a little chaos up front. And actually, the ballsy there unghosts at the worst time possible, causing us to hit them and lose a few positions. A little bit more chaos in and around, but you know what? Down 3 positions on the start after that, not so bad. But coming up into Radion and Eau Rouge here, I'm really feeling like we can kind of get up. And you can get a little tap here on the back. But these cars are equipped with a push to pass. You can see the overtake turn red down there, which allows me to just smoothly pass Wicked Mike there to get the position up. You only have a limited amount of that, so you have to be quite careful with how much you use, because you don't want to be near the end. And now Wicked Mike is fairly fast, and this is where that S rating really comes into play. You can see us go wheel to wheel here, and rather than turning in, Mike leaves enough space for me to kind of stay to the inside and keep this position. Because I have track position, I'm able to pull ahead. But that type of racing is what you're going to see standard in GT7. Because the sport mode, you can see that these penalties are being served from folks who kind of cause a little bit of ruckus. Gives us a few more positions, and I think Mr. Rob up here has some damage from an accident, so we're able to pass them. And you know what? Making up 2 positions on lap 1 at the end of it feels like a great start for us. Now, something you're really going to want to do to increase your sport rating, which is I feel is the more important rating, is to just keep things clean, avoid contact, avoid going off on the track, and you will be able to start being matchmaked with folks who are quite talented, and the algorithm is going to always be matching you with folks who are a little better than you. Sadly, we lose X-Serpent there, kind of goes off on it, but we are having quite a good run here, and I can see behind us on the soft tires, you can see Wicked Mike coming up, and they're going to use those tires quite a bit to catch up to us. But at the same time, we are catching up to this driver here. So we can feel the pass coming in. So I'm going to make a move on the inside here. So coming on the inside, and this is actually quite a fun move here, where Mike sees a little gap, goes for it, does such a great pass, leaving us both behind. Now, driver rating's a little trickier to get increasing. What you're going to need to do is finish in front of people who are higher ranked than you. Actually, this is a great move by Ballsy here. Appropriately, a ballsy pass taking the inside. And I'm a little upset losing 2 positions. I pushing hard, did a little overtake into Radion and No Rouge here, and just a touch off. And a little worried. Hit the overtake and then get dinged with a track limit penalty, which is going to take me out of the top group here. I'm going to try as hard as I can to keep that gap as close as possible, but ultimately I'm going to have to serve this penalty, which is just going to put me back a little bit. I have 2.2 seconds to the car behind, so I'm not worried about losing the position, but I'm losing the advantage of being able to stay with the 2 in front. Now, 7 laps in is where our strategy really starts to come into play. Because we're on the mediums, we have been slower, and you can see the lead of the race, Solo, pit on their softs. They're quite a ways in front of us, so they're probably going to be able to pit and get away with us. But at this point, I want to try to make up as many positions as possible on the pit. So hopefully, yes, Phantom, looks like a few other folks are going to pit in front, which hopefully allows me to just pull out in front. So Solo gets in and out, but I'm able to pass Phantom and Wicked Mike in the pits. And this is my chance to push as hard as possible. I am 8 laps in. I've used half of my push to pass, so I'm on track to having enough for the rest of the race, but this is the moment where I need to make it count. I need to push as hard as possible because those tires are going to start dropping fairly soon. I'm planning on pitting around lap 10. Now, I know that Ballsy and Mike up ahead haven't pit, so at this point, theoretically, I'm doing okay. I'm just going to watch to see. Now, Ballsy pits, so actually a rather long stint, 9 laps on the softs, which will put me into second. But that means that Mike up front potentially is on the mediums, who is doing a similar strategy to me. And I'm starting to hit very close to my expected pit. Actually, on this lap is where I'm expecting to come in. And I'm looking in behind, and this is where I start to see the gap closing with Phantom behind me in that really cool camel car. And I'm thinking they've possibly already pitted at this point, and I don't want to get in a little scuffle here. So at this point, they're using their overtake. I only have a quarter of my overtake left. I don't want to push too hard, so let them by because we're diving right into the pits in a theoretical 3rd place. So going into the softs, looking, that little diamond on the fuel bar is like how much fuel you need to finish the race. I'm feeling we don't need any fuel. So this is that excruciatingly long wait. As we watch folks pass by, see MDP and Wicked Mike, so our overcut doesn't seem to quite have worked for those folks before, and exiting around 7th. But now we're on the soft tires, and then these tires are going to allow us to go quite a bit faster. So I want to push as hard as I can. So hopefully we can get sub 2 minute. And coming out on that, we get a 2 minute and 3 seconds. Now, the one thing that is key that a lot of people forget as they qualify on softs, practice on softs, and start to race on softs is the medium tires actually have less grip, so you can't drive as hard as you can. And this is kind of where you see folks slide a little bit more and go a little bit slower. And you actually see Mike here bins it off. That's sad at the end of their race. I was really enjoying racing with them at this first half of this, but you have to remember that these tires, the mediums specifically, are going to be a little slower and a little harder to go as fast as you were at the start of the race. Now, I have about 11 seconds up to MDT, and all of a sudden I see this yellow flag, and that's actually quite good. So I might be able to make a pass up here, and that goes down to 5.8 seconds. Still a big gap. I've run out of my overtake, so I'm just car performance at this point. But at this point, I look and I still see Mike up there, and I'm pretty sure Mike hasn't pit. So that means that there's a possibility of making positions up at the end of the race due to penalties. So we enter our final lap. We set a 1:57.9, which is showing you just how much faster these tires are. And because we were able to use them at the end of the race, we're able to kind of hold this position, really put the pressure on, and after a rather uneventful final lap, just kind of cruising around the track, setting fairly good sectors, actually minus 1.6 seconds on sector 2 there, we can roll into the race, and this is where we're crossing our fingers. Hopefully Mike will go behind us, and yep, 4th overall. Looks like Mike didn't pit, which we expected. Phantom, the person in the camo livery that came up behind us, also didn't pit, suffers a 1-minute penalty. And this is where reading those race description at the start, you can see quite a few people who are up there are incurring this penalty. This kind of takes you out of the race. So Wicked Mike, Sturks, Genski, and I think eventually Mr. Rob all do quite well and don't get the penalty. But great race this week, great points. Really, really love this game and its multiplayer, and looking forward to seeing you all on the track. Have a good day.